Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, and we are back with Laura Morby for video number 3. How you doing, Laura?
Doing great.
How you doing? So we got Corbin behind you there. Folks, you may hear a voice. That is the lovely Corbin. How old is she?
She is going to be 3 in a couple of months.
Ooh, you got the terrible twos going on.
Yeah, I do.
I remember that time. So, hey, one of the things I wanted to talk about kind of coming off our second conversation is really that closing comment you made that all of us, people may look at yourself and Pace, they may look at Olivia and I and go, wow, we wish we were there. But people need to realize we all have had events in our life that were, things that people may not, we wouldn't wish on others, but we use them as fuel to keep moving forward. So I thought maybe we would just have an honest conversation about things that were kind of unpleasant, frankly, that each of us use for fuel, going forward. So that sound like a cool conversation?
Of course. I love that.
All right. So I'll step up. I'll go first just so we know where we're going with this. One of the things that I credit where we are today is the fact that I lost 6 figures, about 78 or 80% of my net worth in the stock market crash. I made some great investments long run, and then some couple of bad ones bit me, and lost $150,000 in the stock market back when $150,000 frankly was life-changing money, right?
Yes.
This is like 2000, 2001. More money than I'd ever seen. My parents never made more than 40 grand, I don't think, at least while I was growing up. So that was more money than people in my family had ever seen. But I actually credit that as fuel, losing that money, because it told me you got to do your homework, right? I told me not to get cocky, right? Because I was doing the right things for the first year, right? I turned 7 grand into almost 200.
Oh, wow.
And then got stupid, got cocky, stopped doing the work, and lost it all very quickly.
Yeah.
That hurts. I certainly wish I didn't do it. But frankly, if that didn't happen to me, I am 99% confident I would not be financially free at 45. So losing all that money at 29 or 28 got me where I am today. So that's an example of something may have crushed others, but has served me for fuel for, almost 3 decades. So
made you keep going.
Yeah, it made me realize 2 things. Don't ever stop doing the work, and don't get cocky, because the market will kick you in the whats.
Sure will. Yes. I mean, as they say, a smooth sea never made a good sailor. So that's the hard part that I think people have is everyone wants something that's like a super easy path, but it's just not realistic. And sometimes your greatest learning lessons are from pain.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have learned it the same way, and it wouldn't have stuck. And maybe you would have made the mistake multiple times if it wasn't painful. So
Yes.
If you're going through something currently, just know that this could be one of the best things that ever happens to you because of what you're currently learning.
I love how you said that. Again, I credit that one event for being financially free 15 years later. And most people wouldn't look at losing 150 grand as the event that sets them on the path, but it certainly was for me. So you have an example of something in your life that is fuel for you?
Oh man, I have so many. I would probably think that there's so many, like we all go through stuff, and sometimes it just comes completely out of left field. And sometimes it's totally, something that you can call out and say it was because I got a little too cocky. And sometimes you're just like, why is this happening now? It's like totally out of your control, like, the market or something like that. I would say probably for me, the hardest thing that I went through was, having a child at 20 years old. Like, that's not what you do at 20. And that was hard. And it wasn't also the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
But it made it to where my life took a different path. And at the time, it felt like I dug myself a massive hole. And so instead of, my friends, starting off, and when you compare yourself to what everyone else has going on, especially at that age, most people are doing the exact same thing. They're all in college. They're all, getting ready to get an internship, and, then they're getting ready to graduate with their undergrad. And here I am, having to take a year off of school to, raise a child. And so there's that I think helped me be okay with having a different life path and realizing that, you know, in 10 years, it really doesn't matter that much. It really doesn't, because everyone has deterrents and hurdles. And at the end of the day, you don't have to do the exact same thing that everyone's doing. You don't have to in order to be successful or create a life that you want. And then I think it helped me realize I was stronger than I was, and it helped me grow up faster, which I guess could be a good or a bad thing. But by 20, you know, you should be able to have gotten all the vinegar out of you. You don't need to act like a fool until you're 25 to feel as though you had a college experience. But yeah, I felt like I was 10 years older than all my friends all of a sudden, you know, because I had a different set of responsibilities. And that was fine, because that actually catapulted me into real estate, whether I was ready for a career or not. And, you know, by the time other people had gotten into it, I had already been in business for 5 years. So it was nice. And yeah, it was hard. There were so many like ancillary things that were around that. You know, having to figure out how to, like, having 3 jobs just to pay rent. And, you know, I remember, like, everyone has weird stuff like this. So I remember being so poor that I couldn't afford to feed anybody. And I would purposely, like, if I got off work at like 4:30, I would wait like 30 minutes to make sure that Asher ate at my mom's house, because I just didn't have any money to feed us, and I wasn't going to eat, but I wanted to make sure he could eat. And that sounds terrible, but it was bad. And I didn't have AC in my car in Arizona for 3 years. And if there's one thing that'll make you work hard, it's that. So, you know, and I look back on that too, and I'm like, I should have worked smarter, not harder. And I shouldn't have let, you know, certain people, you know, tell me that I should make, you know, $295 a listing, you know, like that was crazy. But yeah, I learned so much, and who I am is definitely affected because of that. And that's the other thing too that I think that you can take from this is, I don't want to call anybody out, but you know, I've seen people who have similar things, and it almost becomes this defining characteristic of them. Like, if you know me, I don't talk about this. Like, it doesn't ever come up, because I've turned it into something positive that I love. But I have known people who have something like that happen to them, especially at that formative age. And it becomes a cornerstone of their personality, where they're talking about it all the time as a reason why they don't own a house yet, or they're, because of this and because of this relationship and because of this hurdle and because of this. And it's like, it's exhausting. And it's sad, because it's like, why are you reliving your pain and your trauma? And you're not looking at it as like a positive thing. You haven't turned it into something that can, you know, that made your life better. And it did. Even those people that are constantly in, you know, in the loop of like, I need to relive my pain type of thing, and they've turned it into a bad thing, where it's like now the excuse for everything that they deem, you know, and they not taking responsibility for it either. So
yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about this, is because, you know, we've both of us have had events in our lives that others will have. And you either use it as fuel to move forward and turn a negative into a positive, which both of us have in these 2 examples, or it does become that cornerstone where it's the reason for everything, right? I could blame losing 150 grand in the stock market on this or that, or this or that. You could blame not having a child at 20 for lots of things, but no, we decided to use it as fuel because we wanted something different. So that's why I wanted to talk about these. So we'll each talk about one more. The next one, and I'm working on a list of 10 of these, which I'm going to do a personal video on once I kind of feel them all out. But the second one I want to talk about is, we're all, and my mom's going to watch this, so I got to be careful. She watches all my videos, which I think is awesome. As a child in my family, it was, money was the cause of happiness or pain.
Yes.
It was really that simple in my family, looking back, right? When we had money, things were good. When we didn't, wasn't good. So what did I take from that? I took from that money is a source of pleasure might be the wrong word. Comfort. How about that? Comfort's the
Yeah,
right word.
comfort.
So
Yes.
I was driven by the mighty dollar for, I don't know, 35 years. It's all I thought about. It's all I was going for. It was why I had two jobs. It's why I did this. It's why I did that.
Mhm.
And the reason I bring this up, one is you've got to realize, you come into adulthood with baggage, but the other thing, right? You have Corbin in your arms there. I want you to realize, as parents or adults with aunts or cousins or nieces and nephews, is they're watching,
Yeah.
right? I may not have appreciated it 8 or 9 or 10 when I'd see my parents going at it over money, but I can still feel it. I can still see that stuff. So realize, as your adults, you have your own history and baggage. Either you use it for fuel or you have it as baggage. But please remember, your kids, nieces, and nephews are watching.
Mhm.
So don't forget about being, helping the next generation see a brighter future. So
Absolutely. And I think I have that too, like seeing your parents go through something. Even Pace does, where, he and I are both like, we need like basic things. Like we're like obsessed with like not having a house payment, like having our house paid off, because like things can be volatile. And
Mhm.
we've seen our parents lose houses and we're like, oh, like it's like
No.
a fear, but it's not like I wouldn't necessarily call it like a negative thing, because it is like, something that has motivated us. But sometimes I see where we've like made certain decisions like as an operation out of fear.
Mhm.
But it is good to notice that you're doing that and think, okay, it's not just about money, and money isn't the only thing that can make me comfortable or happy, and I need to relax a little bit,
Mhm.
but it is hard. It's hard. So I have that too. So
Yeah, that's fun.
we share that both. Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing how similar that story is. And then the last thing I want to tell people, and I think we would both agree with this, is, and I would only acknowledge this probably the last 5 years. Money is, I guess, money is money. That sounds really stupid, but where I was going with that is, you can be happy in life by helping others, by doing things that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be about. I would admit to be, and this would probably drive my sister crazy, being too money focused most of my life, chasing the almighty dollar. But now helping people, seeing other people do great things, you can have joy with other than monetary, which I don't know that I would have agreed to years ago.
Yeah, I agree. And Pace says, he's like, money doesn't buy happiness, but it makes everything easier.
Oh, I like that.
I have to agree, because like some of the best times we've ever had is when we're like poor in an apartment sharing one vehicle,
Yeah.
and we're super happy, and I'm not saying we're not happy in this big, beautiful house, but like you don't need money to be happy, but
Yes.
it sure does. It makes things
It makes
easier.
things easier. Well,
And it helps you solve problems too. So that's another thing that we have noticed, is when money is tight, your problems seem crazier, because money will help you get
yeah,
out of them. So that's the only thing that
I would
money,
agree.
yes, it makes life easier. Yes.
Very, very cool, Laura. Well, you've been a lot of fun. Thank you for doing this. Hi, Corbin. Have a wonderful day. It's Sunday. Thanks, Laura. Have a wonderful day.
Mom. Sorry.
Thanks.